Absolutely. Here's a fully developed, cinematic, and emotional story based on your title. I've ensured it's about 1,000 words, complete in one part, with smooth pacing, cinematic imagery, emotional depth, and the requested calls to action. Single dad only had us $50 for blind date. The millionaire Lee at the next table watched him, and the rain was falling in a soft, relentless drizzle, painting the city streets with shimmering reflections of neon signs and streetlights. Inside the small, dimly lit cafe, Daniel wiped his sweaty palms on the worn fabric of his coat and glanced at the clock. He was late, as always. Life had a way of keeping him on edge between late-night shifts at the diner, parenting his 7-year-old daughter, Mia, and scraping together just enough to pay the bills. The idea of a blind date should have felt impossible. Yet here he was, sitting alone at a corner table, clutching a crumpled $50 bill in his pocket, the entirety of his disposable cash for the week, wondering how to survive dinner that was supposed to impress someone he had never met. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and moments that change lives, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Daniel's heart pounded as he rehearsed how he might make simple meal stretch. He ordered a modest pasta dish and a glass of water, counting every cent, calculating how to stay within his teeny budget without looking cheap. He felt exposed, as if everyone could see the invisible numbers weighing him down. Just as he began to feel the familiar sting of embarrassment creeping in, the door opened, and a woman entered, radiant and confident. She smiled at the host, her presence commanding attention, yet softening the space around her. Daniel's stomach tightened, not with attraction, but with self-conscious panic. How could he, a man barely holding his life together, ever match this world of elegance? Across the room, a table in the corner caught his eye, where sharply dressed woman sipped her espresso and reviewed documents on sleek tablet. Her aura spoke of power and authority, every movement precise, yet there was something gentle in her eyes. She wasn't oblivious, she was watching. She had seen him fumble with the napkin, sigh over the menu, and pull the crumpled $50 from his pocket with an almost imperceptible hesitation. There was a quiet dignity in his struggle, a raw authenticity that contrasted sharply with the polished world around her. Little did Daniel know, the woman was Eleanor Grant, the A of a multi-million-dollar company, used to power, decisions, and control, but today, something entirely human had caught her attention. Daniel's daughter Maya had always been his anchor, the reason he pushed through exhaustion, the reason he believed life had small miracles tucked in unexpected corners. The thought of Maya waiting for him at home made him smile despite his anxiety. He pictured her small face, her laughter echoing through their modest apartment, and he felt a surge of courage. Maybe, just maybe, tonight wouldn't be a disaster. Maybe, tonight, someone would see beyond the worn coat, the frayed shoes, the teeny budget, and see the heart of a man who loved fiercely and tried relentlessly. As he stirred his pasta, he overheard the soft click of high heels and the rustle of elegant fabric. Eleanor had moved closer, ostensibly to take a phone call, but her gaze remained on him. There was no judgment there, only curiosity, and something warmer, something quietly approving. Daniel's self-consciousness surged. He wanted to shrink into his chair and disappear, but something about the gentle scrutiny emboldened him. Maybe, he thought, life did have a strange way of nudging people toward one another. The night wore on, and Daniel's initial discomfort melted into a quiet acceptance. He spoke to his date, and she laughed at his stories, her laughter like sunlight breaking through gray clouds. Daniel felt himself relax, feeling for the first time in years that perhaps he was deserving of more than survival, that joy could still seep into the cracks of his life. All the while, Eleanor watched, sipping her coffee, her eyes softening as she observed a man balancing dignity and vulnerability so effortlessly. She recognized something rare: authenticity. Real people didn't hide their struggles behind layers of perfection, they wore them openly, like Daniel did, and it resonated deeply with her. Hours passed, unnoticed by Daniel, until the bill arrived. He counted his cash and his stomach sank slightly. $50, it would barely cover the modest dinner and leave tip. Panic rose, but before he could act, Eleanor had discreetly signaled the waiter. Moments later, she stood, walked over, and placed her card on his table. He looked up, confused, and she smiled gently. "Consider this a small gesture," she said, her voice warm, not patronizing. Everyone deserves chance to be seen, especially those who carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. Daniel was stunned. Humility and gratitude tangled in his chest, making it hard to speak. No one had ever offered him such kindness without expectation. He felt tears prick the corners of his eyes, not from embarrassment, but from the realization that the world could still surprise him, that genuine empathy existed even in places he had long stopped believing. He wanted to thank her, to somehow repay the gesture, but Eleanor merely nodded and returned to her table, as if the act itself was reward enough. As the night ended, Daniel stepped out into the rain, the city glistening under the streetlights. He clutched his coat tighter around him, but this time, it felt lighter, as if someone had lifted an invisible burden from his shoulders. He thought about Maya, about the struggles that would continue tomorrow, and yet he felt something he hadn't felt in years: hope. Someone had seen him, not the tired single dad, not the man with a tight budget, but the person underneath it all, full of heart, striving, and deserving of life's small miracles. If this story touched your heart, please engage with this video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe so more people can see the magic in small acts of kindness and the beauty of second chances. Before we end, take a moment and comment below. Have you ever experienced a moment when a stranger's kindness changed everything? Your story might inspire someone today. Daniel walked home slowly, rain dripping from his hair, but inside, a fire had been rekindled. In a world that often measured people by their success or wealth, he had been reminded that true value lies in resilience, in love, and in the courage to show up authentically. And somewhere, across the room, a millionaire had witnessed that humanity, silently cheering for a man she barely knew, proving that sometimes, the smallest gestures could echo louder than the grandest fortunes. Word count. Isang libo includes cinematic, emotional storytelling, suspenseful build, and heart-touching moments. 2 viewer engagement requests, added special comment request added if you want. I can also create anime cinematic image prompts for this story to make YouTube visuals that perfectly match each key scene, each one like a mini poster capturing the emotion of the moment. Do you want me to do that next?